What's up YouTube? Austin coming at you with Vaporleaf.com. Today we're going to be talking about the SMY 60 watt. Let's go ahead and get into what you get. Alright, so you're going to get the box right here. Nice little carrying case. You get a little carabiner with it. Let's open it up real quick. Alright, so we're going to get a little QC sticker right there. The famous blue screwdriver, we'll talk about that here in a second. Get a nice little polishing cloth, get all those fingerprints off your new device. Get your user's manual. A micro USB to standard USB charge cable. And then obviously the device itself. It has a nice carbon fiber finish on the back. We have a few different colors. I believe we have this black, a black and red, and a black and blue. So let's see what you're getting on the device here. You have a magnetic back plate right here. The device doesn't come with a battery, but it does fit a single 18650 battery. I have a 35 amp eFest in here at the moment. It's got two nice magnets on the back, both on the cover and on the device itself. And then these little nuts right here hold into these little slots. So it pops on there really nicely, and that's not going anywhere. So moving from the back, on the front here you've got the screen and a little bit of branding there. We'll get back to that in a second. You've got a little bit of venting and your USB charge port. You've got your down and up buttons and your fire button. And then you've got your 510 right on top here. Now coming back to the screwdriver here, that is a flathead screwdriver. That is to adjust that negative pin inside there. Hopefully you can see that slot right there. You just screw that up and down, so it's not a floating pin, but it is an adjustable pin. The rest of the 510 does have a little bit of air slots right there, so if you are using a device that does provide its own airflow from the bottom still, that will still accommodate those. Alright, getting into the screen here, the device is off right now, so we'll go ahead and give it 5 clicks to turn it on. Actually, I believe it's 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep, 3 clicks. Alright, and there we are. We have the wattage right there. And then also down here, I'll actually get in a little bit closer there. You can see this little tachometer looking deal. This is also controlling your wattage there. As the wattage goes up, that needle goes up. And this is a 60 watt device, so it'll go up to 60 watts. Coming back down, go down all the way down to 7, and that's being shown right there as well as down here. This one's honestly a little bit gimmicky because it's not going to be nearly as accurate at this one, but it is still nice to see that. Alright, so you've got battery life here, you've got your puff counter right here. This is going to reset every time you change the battery out, so it is kind of just how many puffs off of a battery you're getting. You have your voltage right here. This is going to be your applied amperage. I'm really happy to see that there because that is the dangerous side of electricity, or at least for what we're using. So I'm really glad that the amperage drains on there really makes it apparent to the general public of this is there. That amperage is definitely part of electricity. It's not just voltage, resistance, and wattage. Amperage definitely has a large part to play in it. Speaking of resistance, it is going to read right there. I don't have anything on there. It just locked up on me, and you can see that it said to unlock. Let me see if I can get that in focus. Unlock, press the up and down, positive and negative, so we'll go ahead and press both of those. Unlocked, and we're back in there. Alright, and then we do have date and time down here. Looks like that is off. Yes, that is definitely off, so it looks like that might get reset with the time every time you change the battery as well. So if you're wanting to use the date and time, that might be a little bit of a problem. Right down here we have a indicator. Actually, when you fire it, let me go ahead and grab an atomizer for you. Alright, got an old school Cardo tank here. Let's unlock that again here. So I'll just screw that right on top. And this is active, so I didn't need to hit the fire button, but the amperage already came in. We're firing at, looks like 1.82 amps. This is a 2.1 ohm atomizer, 7 ohms. This is going to be firing 3.8 volts. So you can see this little green counter right here starts to count. I believe I have it set on a 10-second cutoff, so we should be able to get all the way to 10 seconds. And it cuts off. I'm not sure if you were able to hear the Cardo going on there or not, but you did see the overtime protection. Alright, so getting into the menu system here, the only way to turn it off, is go to this right here. So to get into the menu system, we're going to go ahead and do 3 quick clicks. So we'll go ahead and do 1, 2, 3. That lights that up there, so we'll just go ahead and click on that. Do you want to shut it down? No, we do not. So 1, 2, 3 to get back into it. 1, 2, 3. And we'll go ahead and go hit the down button over to the lock. Do you want to lock? Yes. Now this is the only way you can lock the device unless you let the screen time out, which we'll get to in just a second. So to unlock it, press and hold the positive and the negative button right there, and that'll get right back into it. But if you wanted to relock it, you do have to go back into that menu setting. If you just press and hold both of those, it'll say unlocked again. Alright, so 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, I don't want to shut it down. Get into our settings here. Okay, so overtime settings. So this is where we're going to be able to control how long of a hit we're going to be able to take. This is adjustable from 2 seconds up to 10 seconds and everywhere in between. I'm just round robining it. So 10 down to 2 and then back up to 10 again. So this is how long of a puff you're going to be able to take before it cuts you off. If you're running something at a little bit higher wattage and you take shorter puffs, you might want to dial this back a little bit. Other than that, I would just recommend keeping it on that 10 seconds. So we'll go ahead and hit that, set successfully. You always want to make sure to hit the fire button to set successfully, or else it's just going to revert back to what it was set to before. Go down to screen settings. Like I said, the screen's going to time out on you. You do have control of that all the way down to, I believe, 5 seconds. We'll get down there here. Yeah. You can adjust it from 5 seconds up to 999 minutes. That might seem a little bit excessive, but for some people it's not going to be. When the screen times out, it's going to lock itself. So if you do not want the screen to lock itself, if you don't want the device to lock itself on its own at any point in time, you probably want to have this set up at the 999 minutes. I find that right around a minute or 2 is pretty perfect. I usually am vaping, and if I have a stretch of inactivity for over a minute, I'm alright with it locking itself. I think that that is a good feature. Can be a little bit of a pain for some people, but at that point you can just adjust that screen up a little bit. So we'll hit the fire button, set successfully. You want to make sure to do that, or else once again it will revert the settings. Vapor setting is going to be your manual and auto mode. Now this is also where the hit is, your timeout is going to come in handy. So for the auto mode, it literally means that you're just going to hit the fire button, and whatever your timeout is set to, it's going to fire for that. So we're going to sit here, I'm going to hit the fire button. Now I'm going to let go, and it's firing. You can see the green right there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it cut itself off right at the 10. So, but I only had to click it, and it started to go. And see, I just tapped it again, and it's going to fire again on it. And it doesn't sound like a very happy Cardo. But regardless, I just tapped it and it did that. So I'm going to go ahead and 1, 2, 3, get back into our menu settings here. Go down to our vapor settings and go back into manual mode. So I don't see much of a use in the automatic mode, but that can be definitely handy for some people depending on what you're doing. Doesn't have much use for me though. Alright, date and time. I'm just going to go ahead and skip over that because you can set the date and time. Puff info. You can reset total puffs, reset total time, and exit, and it does show you your total puffs and your total time vaped. I'm only up to 30 seconds, 3 puffs on it so far, and that is going to reset every time you take the battery out. But if you are trying to get an exact reading within a single charge, you can reset that at some point in time to get a reading for what you're trying to get at. So we'll go ahead and exit out of that. And here with the puff set, you can set a puff limit of how many puffs you want to take during the day. Don't know why you would want to do that, but for some people who are trying to work their way down and actually stay vigilant on how many puffs they're taking a day, you can set how many puffs, and you can reset puff limit. So if you get to that limit and you decide, you know, I think I want to go a little bit further than that, you can reset that limit, and it will cycle for you. Alright, so we'll go ahead and hit the exit button there. Exit there. 1, 2, 3. Finally going into the last thing on the menu. This is just going to give you kind of some information on it. You have the input voltage, the output voltage, output power, output resistance, just to go over those real quick. So the input voltage can be between 3.2 to 4.2 volts. That's the standard operating voltage for a single 18650 battery. The output voltage, it does have a little bit of a step down to 1.4 volts, and it will step it up all the way to 8 volts. Output power, which is going to be your wattage, you have a minimum of 7 watts, a maximum of 60 watts. As far as resistance, it looks like the minimum resistance is going to be 0.3 to 3 ohms, though I do believe I read in the user manual somewhere that its lowest supported resistance is 0.1. But we're just going to go ahead and go with what it's saying on the screen here of a 0.3. Unfortunately, I don't have a 0.2 or a 0.1 built up. Actually, I do have a 0.2. Give me just a second. Okay, so this is going to be a 0.2 ohm. Low resistance. Okay, so 0.3 ohms is going to be the lowest resistance that it's able to fire. Go ahead and put the 2.1 ohm Cardo on there. And we're back in business. Okay, so 0.3 is going to be the lowest resistance that it is capable of firing. And then obviously to charge it, you're just going to charge it right from this port down there. You'll take the supplied cable and plug it right into that port. Alright, so that's going to be the SMY60. Let's hop up and do a couple final comments and we'll finish this guy up. Alright guys, so that was the SMY 60 watt. So who's this device going to be good for? Obviously it's not going to be really great for the super sub-ohmers. They're going to want to be sticking with devices that are able to push 100 watts or more. This device is really going to be good for people who are using sub-ohm tanks, so devices like the Kangaroo sub tank, the Atlantis, the Arctic, although with like, let's see here, the Arctic tank has a 0.2, the Star Freemax tank that we carry has a 0.25 coil. Both of those are not going to be capable to fire on this because this will only fire down to 0.3 ohm. But then again, it's only going to be able to hit 60 watts. I like to run the Arctic tank at 70 watts. So if you're looking for something that's that hot, you'll probably want something that's a little bit hotter. But this device, for somebody who's going to be using an Arctic tank or a Kangaroo, not an Arctic, excuse me, an Atlantis tank or a Kangaroo sub-ohm tank, something around that power level that's going to be using 25 or lower, up to 30, 40 watts. This is going to be a fantastic device. And those of you who just want to do flavor chasing with an RDA, this can be a fantastic device. You get regulation, so it's not going to drop like a mechanical or some other unregulated box or other unregulated device. You're going to get a lot more consistent hit out of it. And it's still, and you have the protection there. That's the biggest thing, is with a mechanical or any unregulated box, you're the protection circuit. The device doesn't care if it's safe, dangerous, anything like this. This device right here does care. It has protections built into it. So if you're not super comfortable with building and everything like that, I highly recommend using a regulated device. But hey guys, that's it for the SMY 60 watt. Thanks for watching. As always, for more, subscribe to YouTube, like us on Facebook. Have a fantastic day, guys.